Welcome on back to a very special episode of the Goonery for the first time in what feels like forever. We have a fully positive discussion coming up on the Chicago Bears, and it's officially been 1 week, and Caleb Williams is the face of the Chicago Bears. Brandon, I don't know about you, but there's just been a smile on my face since it's been officially announced.
I know people on the internet are familiar with the LeBron James, I can't believe this is my life meme, but this is literally what Chicago Bears fans, such as myself, such as you, have been feeling for a week. Because there's a lot of things that happen to draft that you just wonder if the Bears were going to stay put at 9, trade back, because you know Ryan Poles likes his picks. Caleb Williams was obviously the given in the draft. But what if Romo Dunze just didn't get picked? What if the Giants preferred neighbors despite his character concerns over Dunze? What if the Falcons, which we will talk about, didn't reach on a future face of the franchise quarterback? We're going to get to that. But what if the Titans didn't go offensive line? We don't know, but
So many
we
what ifs.
know.
There's so many what ifs, but it doesn't matter because it happened. We have an offense going into week 1 that is going to feature a three-headed monster at wide receiver of DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Adunze. Add in Cole Kmet, add in DeAndre Swift, add in Gerald Everett, and add in one of the top quarterback prospects we've seen this century. There is, as John Rothstein would say, there is palpable buzz coming out of Hallis Hall, and rightfully so, because you have a quarterback who everyone said, oh, he's not going to want to play in Chicago. He's not going to want to embrace the culture, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? Everything you've seen, yep. It took him, what, a half hour to make the new, just like, how did no one think of this before?
Right.
That is my thing.
This shows he has more charisma than anybody that's probably put on a Bears uniform, and it's including the fringe too.
It's he's going to run this city, and this is a little bit of a tangent, real quick, but just the star power of young athletes in Chicago right now between Caleb Williams, Connor Bedard with the Blackhawks, and Angel Reese coming in. All of these as rookies. Mm-hmm. It's just a crop of young athletes in this city that we've never seen before all at once. And Caleb Williams is our quarterback, man. I know we're being positive, but I have to say it. If this one doesn't work out, it never will. It never will. But guess what? There's not even a concern in my mind that this won't work out because no one in this franchise has ever been as talented as Caleb Williams at the quarterback position. I mean, that's just a fact. It's a fact. No one has been as talented. You have never seen a rookie quarterback come into a situation this strong. He's coming into a top 10 defense. He's coming into now arguably not even arguably, a top 5 offense in football, and just in terms of pure talent. I want to say Bears fans do need to pump the brakes a little bit. I don't know if you saw the tweet going around today of someone predicting what Caleb's rookie stats were going to be on the offensive side of the football, and they broke it down by each offensive skill player, receptions and yards and touchdowns. Well, let's just say pump the brakes. Caleb Williams is not throwing for 5,340 yards. Let's just have a quarterback break. Or he was off the all-time season record by, I believe, like 80 yards. And I saw a comment say, hey, at least you're not shooting for the all-time record in his rookie year. Good on you. But let's shoot for 4,000. Let's have Caleb be the first 4,000 yard passer. And I mean, he's going to sleepwalk to 4,000 yards, in my opinion. But Bears fans need to temper expectations a little bit because there's going to be growing pains. I don't care how much talent you have. I don't care the talent around you. There's going to be growing pains as a rookie quarterback. It happens. But, Brandon, I want to propose something to you.
Sure.
On this show. For every win this season, I think I'm going to be painting one finger now.
Listen, it's funny you mentioned that because I was literally on my commute to work today. I said, man, this is obviously bottom of the barrel stuff, and it's kind of sad to think of it. If he even wins one playoff game, these two, they get painted. I already get my nails done, and I ain't ashamed to say it, but I don't get them painted. I'll get them painted.
Mm-hmm.
Whichever color I choose on that particular day, I will get them painted. And and obviously I'm gonna have to answer some very, very very legible questions from my girlfriend, which I completely understand, but it's all for the love of the game.
And just real quick, want to circle back. Men, anyone who shames you for getting nails done, fuck them.
It's about to be the norm. I hate to tell you.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you. Especially if you're 35 and up. I hate to tell you.
Yep. And you know what? Quite frankly, Brandon, if I did one for every one finger for every win, I think I'd be running out of fingers this year.
It's very possible. It's very possible. But I do want to say something. One thing that really stood out to me during the pre-draft process was a quote from Ryan Poles during the Pat McAfee show in response to Robert Griffin III. We're here to break a cycle. Mm-hmm. And I want to fill people in for those who don't know about the cycle of Chicago Bears quarterbacks, offenses, whatever the case may be. It's an ugly, ugly, ugly history that they have. If you go down the history, if you go down the list of quarterbacks, you have the Rex Grossmans, you have the Kyle Lawrence, you have the Jason Campbells, you have the Todd Collins, you have the Caleb Hades, you have the Jay Cutlers, you had the Chet Hutchinsons, you had a myriad of quarterbacks that you guys have went through, and to get to this point, and obviously if you are an outsider, you're saying, man, if that's the lineup that the Bears are going to, if that's the lineup that Caleb Williams is going to have to follow, then yeah, he's destined to fail. But if you ask me, outside of Jay Cutler, because we know Jay Cutler, he had a myriad of weapons. He just played like a slapdick, so that's why he didn't work out. But with Caleb Williams, like we say, he is the most talented player to ever put on a Chicago Bears uniform. I think easily. But at the same time, the cycle was always supposed to be this. They knew that they messed up with Justin Fields. They knew that. So they said, we're not going to jeopardize our jobs by recycling the same cycle. They're here to break the cycle. And one more thing, it's funny because we've been doing this show since 2020. Crazy how time flies, right? All that we have talked about was maybe, just maybe, prior to the season that the Chicago Bears would be successful. We saw them make the playoffs in 2020, and then ever since then, it's been downhill since then. And I know in past years, we have been bullish on the Bears. Maybe they can be successful, and there will be that part of us that thinks we won't be successful. Mm-hmm. But I think now, and I think maybe you can admit this wholeheartedly, we do not have to force an opinion out of us and force the optimism out of us. It's going to come naturally because, simply put, right now, because you want any indication as to why you should feel comfortable with the Bears. Ryan Poles had 5 picks in this year's draft. Normally, he'd be wheeling and dealing with trying to. And the only trade he made was giving away a 4th rounder to get back to the 5th round to draft Austin Booker, right?
And by the way,
that is a guy.
That move.
It's a great move. I thought it should have happened in the 4th round, but Torrey Taylor, who I'm not going to tell you it's a raw pick, but if you ask me, that is a man that's comfortable with the roster that he put together, and for all the right reasons. The defense is going to be good. Now, granted, the only concern I have is that the lack of a pass rush. When you look at the secondary, led by Jalen Johnson, a guy that got his money, rightfully so. And then you had two other guys that, if you ask me, that experience that they had for last season, it was the most beneficial thing. They put Tyreek Stevenson out to the Wolves. They pushed him into the water, and
And
he did not drown.
He
Same thing with
improved.
Kyler Gordon in his first year, and he swam up in his second year. Terrell Smith is a dark horse in that secondary. You add a veteran like Kevin Byard, who's actually willing to tackle, and you got Jaquan Brisker. Listen, this defense is going to be good. It's going to be really, really good. Whether it's them doing the job or Torrey Taylor kicking teams inside the 20-yard line, this team is going to be good. And I can't. I've never said that with true confidence.
I agree with everything you just said, and I know I said we might run out of fingernails for painting for each win. The NFC North might be the best division in football, though.
Oh boy, it's going to be a
It's going to be a dogfight. A dogfight. I mean, it's at this point in time, I still would say it is the Packers division to lose, personally. I know I think that they are just I know the year the Lions had. You can argue the Lions division will lose as well. But I just think that the way the Packers played down the stretch last year, they're young and they're just going to continue to get better and healthier. And I hate that Jordan Love looks like he's a franchise quarterback. It drives me crazy, but we don't have to be jealous anymore. We don't have to be jealous anymore. That's the thing that I am the most excited about. But it's going to continue to be a dogfight in this division. And I'm not confident in the Vikings this year, but they're still going to be scrappy regardless of who is throwing them the football, just because of all the offensive firepower that they have between Jefferson, Addison, Hawkins. I mean, they're loaded still. They are loaded.
Perfect place for Jake to go, by the way.
Do you want to get into that? Do you see him starting this year, or do you think they lean on Sam Darnold early?
I do not believe Sam Darnold will finish the season as a starting quarterback. But if I'm Minnesota, I don't start JJ week 1. You let him sit for a little bit. And I think even if he does start soon, I think because I'm stuck in a rock and a hard place. JJ McCarthy is my favorite Michigan quarterback of all time, and then he gets drafted to the Vikings. But I'm going to be honest, like, if you told me he's going into a franchise that's Kevin O'Connell as the head coach running the offense, and you have Justin Jefferson, I got to be honest with you, I feel extremely confident about what he can do. If there's any rookie quarterback out there, you will want to play for Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, I would rather mine plays for Shane Waldron, but that's
hey,
that's me being a homer. But I mean, while we're just on the topic of rookie quarterbacks, and we have to discuss it. It has been the discussion point of the drafts. Not how good of a draft anyone has had. It's being argued still. The Falcons selection at 8 overall, Michael Penix Jr. I personally think it's the worst draft pick of all time. Objectively, because I will never throw a bust in the category of worst pick of all time. You can look back on it and say, yeah, that was a horrible pick. And you can say, like, objectively, yes, that is Jamarcus Russell is probably the worst pick of all time. We can go and say that. But considering the circumstances, all things considered, Michael Penix Jr., 8th overall. You just paid Kirk Cousins $180 million. You're in win now mode, and you draft a 24-year-old rookie with an injury history who, if Kirk Cousins plays his full contract out in Atlanta without any injuries, Michael Penix will not start his first NFL game until he is 28 or almost 29 years old.
Easily. And I'm going to say, and this is obviously it's going to be revisionist history to some people,
Oh yeah,
and that's fine. The circumstances also matter outside because they pay Kirk Cousins. You didn't even notify him. You would think
there's that.
if you sign a guy and you're drafting his replacement, the communication will be there. That's step one of this marriage between the Falcons and Kirk Cousins not working out.
Mm-hmm.
You set the barrier right there that you are not taking his tenure seriously. And considering the last legit pass rusher the Falcons had is probably John Abraham, yeah, you probably should have. Dallas Turner was right there. Like Atu Latu was right there.
Yeah.
It is the most mind-boggling pick. And then even all the moves in the draft, you're just wondering, what the hell is going on? What is going? Listen, all of this could be completely forgotten if Kirk Cousins and the Falcons wins the division. Which, by the way, they are definitely the favorites to do that. Don't get me wrong. And who even knows? And I'm not trying to speak anything into existence. This is Kirk Cousins, who is 36 years old, coming off an Achilles injury.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible that at this point of his career, it's very possible that he may not be. Father Time might catch up to him. And it's very possible. But as it stands right now, this pick makes no sense. And I don't know what the rationale is. I didn't watch the press conference afterwards because, truth be told, I don't want to be talked like a moron.
Mm-hmm.
It's you trying to convince me that was a good pick because it wasn't. In no circumstances, it was a good pick.
I don't know if you saw this either. Michael Penix Jr. did not take an official top 30 visit with the Falcons.
That's even worse. That's literally what the Bears did with Trubisky.
The last time they spoke to him was at the combine.
I mean, the round one was really weird in general. Like Brock Bowers going to the Raiders, and then you have Bo Nix going in the first round, top 15. Bo Nix
and Sean Payton saying he tried to pull, he was happy with it because he pulled the fast one, making the Vikings take JJ. It's just the bait and switch.
I'm gonna tell you something.
Bronco fans, I am sorry. Since the departure of Peyton Manning, you have been a bottom 3 franchise in the NFL in terms of just how you've been run. I know you've been okay from a few years. You are in hell. You are in purgatory. That's where you are stuck. You were promised a chance at reviving the franchise with Sean Payton. I thought he was going to, and then he just has to go and pull a fast one, trying to be like, "Oh, I'm the quarterback whisperer. I'm going to save this. I'm going to save him. I'm going to save the franchise." I have a really, really hard time believing that Bo Nix will ever develop into a better version of what Russell Wilson was last year. And Russell Wilson was not good.
Hey, listen, for how much, because I don't think it gets talked about much about how Sean Payton, how he treated Russell Wilson, how wrong he treated him. It was really like if you really like go through since he got hired, it was uncomfortable at a point. It generally got uncomfortable with how he would talk about him.
Yeah.
If you go scapegoated Nathaniel Hackett first and foremost, and then you scapegoat Russell Wilson, which, by the way, I know you say he was bad last year, but he was better than people think. I just don't think Denver's just a really good team at all. If you go out there with Bo Nix and you maybe get 3-4 wins, it's time we start having a conversation about Sean Payton. Because
time to start a dialogue.
Oh, 1,000%. Because listen, Drew Brees, we talk about him how he's a great. He's an all-time great. No doubt about it. He has one championship. And a lot of that in the middle after that championship run, it's been a lot of bad for the Saints. And I know people are going to bring up the 1 year with the Rams. You should have been the Super Bowl that year. I 1000% agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
But we are in a results based business. And the results haven't been there for Sean Payton. As it stands right now, he may have the worst contract in sports. And I think it's by miles right now.
You're saying, in terms of athlete, coach, you are saying Sean Payton worst contract in sports.
Out of everybody, he has the worst contract right now. They gave up a lot for him. They paid him a lot of money, all to be a troublemaker.
He's making a little under 20 million, I believe, correct? If that sounds
I believe so.
That's an interesting topic. I'm going to be looking into that and looking into some bad sports contracts tonight because I've never really looked at, I mean, I've done it for college coaches, obviously, because the money that you make in college is crazy compared to the NFL. But
yeah,
because just in terms of pure money, I think I would say Jimbo Fisher at
oh yeah, that was bad
at A&M. But ooh, yeah, no, I mean, you're probably right about Peyton with that. And people, I think you hit the nail on the head, though. People are going to look back at Sean Payton 20 years from now, and he's going to be looked at a lot differently.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
a lot different.
But I'd say he owes Drew Brees everything because he got another opportunity in NFL because of him, but also he's on TV because of him.
Yep.
I don't see Sean Payton as a character enough to be compelling on TV.
Hell no. Hell no. I don't have any like Sean Payton I mean, yes, you have like Sean Payton moments, but you don't have any memorable media quotes, media stints, nothing. And I feel like with a lot of coaches, you do. And speaking of, one former coach made his foray into the media at the draft this past week, and
Ooh.
yeah, true. I cannot believe how entertaining Bill Belichick was.
You know, someone said it. I forgot who it was. Bill Belichick being with Pat McAfee was the perfect rollout to the media.
Yep.
The perfect rollout. And no matter how you feel about Pat McAfee, genuinely, he gets a personality out of you. He will make you feel compelling. And that's exactly, if you told me prior to the draft, Bill Belichick is going to be on the draft coverage, I couldn't give a damn. You could not give me the kid. Maybe Nick Saban. I think Nick Saban's a great talker. Bill Belichick, he has to stick with the media. You don't know how he's going to be talking as a talking head on TV. You have no idea. But I'm not going to lie. If this is what we're going to get from him, I'm locked in.
Yeah. You hit that on the head though with McAfee saying that he brings the personality out, and I mean, fuck, you've seen it with Michael Cole in the WWE.
Yeah,
everyone
perfect
just feels,
example.
you always hear people saying, "Oh, this team plays to the level of their competition," right?
Yeah.
Well, McAfee, yeah, every one of his guests, they yuck it up to be at least try and be on his level. It won't happen. It won't happen for everyone, but.
By the way, people were having reservations about the final boss until he went on McAfee.
Yep.
Hey.
Yeah. There was one other first round pick I really wanted to touch on, and that was Joe Alt with the Chargers. I don't think anyone's going to look back on that pick in a few years and think anything wrong with it because I think he was the best player in this draft other than Caleb Williams. And Harbaugh coming out and saying, well, in our building, we look at offensive linemen as weapons, and it's just perfect. It was just, it's perfect for Harbaugh to say that. And Joe Alt is the prototypical dumb looking offensive lineman who's going to play for 15 years and be looked at as an all-time great.
If I remember correctly, when he got drafted, I didn't see any family members hug him. He's locked in.
Yep.
And by the way, I know the Chargers wide receiver core is really bad right now. I'm not even gonna lie. Like Lad McConkey and Quinn Johnson and everybody else.
They still have Joshua Palmer too, I believe.
Joshua Palmer as well. Darius Davis, whatever. I understand wide receiver is a very sexy position. But people, and maybe this is for the non-college football watchers that they don't really understand the impact Joe Alt is going to have. But where do we lose our way as football fans that we do not appreciate trench work? Do people not realize that the trenches is where you win championships? Ask the Michigan Wolverines. Ask any team. The Bengals had a bad offensive line. That's why they ended up not Super Bowl, as good as they were that one year. I don't know where these football fans come up with this nonsense that the trenches don't matter. But baby, it's all about the trenches. It's all about it. That's how you win games. Hell, if Joe O fell to the Bears, Roman Dute, I'm sorry, you gotta get the step, brother. I'd say Joe O.
If Joe Alt fell to the Bears at 9, I mean, I this draft, I mean, it's a 10 out of 10 of a draft, but if Joe Alt fell to the Bears at 9, it becomes an 11 out of 10 for me real damn fast.
Oh yeah,
that is a bookend left tackle for a decade plus,
and he will be in Canton if he stays healthy.
Yeah. Yep. And you know, Charger fans, anyone upset by that pick? Do you want Justin Herbert to be able to stand on his feet? Because yeah, your receivers might suck. Your receiving core as a whole might suck. Someone's got to give him the football, and if he can't stay on his feet, it's going to be even worse.
Do Chargers fans realize they have Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater on each side?
I mean,
I would kill for that.
It's
and the other I get it. I completely understand. The lack of weapons is alarming. Please don't get me wrong. But at least there will be guys that have time to get open.
Mm-hmm.
It may take them some time. It may take them a little bit. You may have to play buddy ball with Lad McConkey. Quinn Johnson's going to have to learn how to catch. Oh, hell, even my Michigan brother, Cornelius Johnson, might break out. I'm half joking, but it's possible.
And hey, they did snag Brendan Rice as well. They did.
Hey, listen, it may not happen this year, and that's fine because if you have expectations as a Charger fan to make playoffs, win the division, whatnot, take a step back. You realize what the hell you're doing. But going forward, the foundation's being set. And if anybody knows team building, it's Jim Harbaugh. Mm-hmm. So I'm not cool. Who am I to sit there and doubt when he was a coach of my favorite college team for a couple of years?
So, speaking of Harbaugh, I was listening to a podcast interview earlier this week with a comedian, Dan Soder. He's a big football fan. He childhood best friend of Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel. So he's around the league. He grew up a 49ers fan, though. And he said that he loved Harbaugh when he was with the 49ers. But he goes, there's a reason things started to go south after 3 or 4 years. And I'd never heard this talked about before. But it's because, you know, every 3 or 4 years, you have new guys cycling in and out in college. He's a damn good football coach. But NFL guys don't want to deal with Harbaugh after 3 to 4 years just because of that rah-rah attitude. And I've never really thought about that before. So it's going to be interesting to see how it translates this time around in the NFL with the Chargers.
I mean, it makes sense because it will work for young adults. Like they want to be that type
Yeah, yeah,
until they get deep into the league. You're just like, man, I just want to play football. Forget all this other stuff. Because even the press conferences he would have, he says very, very kooky things. Like that's his personality. But I think when you're 3 years in, you're 4 years in, the loser starts happening a little bit. You're just like, dude, stop all the nonsense. Just be transparent about what needs to happen, what needs to get done, and then we can move forward. But I think because if you really think about it's the 49ers state, yeah, it happened and whatnot. But I feel like in college, for all he's been through at Michigan, whether it was the losing seasons, whether it was losing to Ohio State numerous of times, whether it was dealing with the sanctions and winning a national championship, I feel like he's probably learned a good amount in that time. And I won't be surprised if that's reflected with the Chargers. Now, granted, he has his work cut out for him because he needs to build a team. But if he learned from his fit at Michigan, I think he'll be fine. They just need to win, or else, when you don't win, what happens when you don't win? Everybody starts talking.
yeah.
Everybody starts chattering. So we gonna see.
I agree. I agree. So before we wrap here, Brandon, I want to ask you so I'm going to ask you your favorite pick from the first round, and as well as your least favorite pick, other than Michael Penix Jr.
Oh man. Um, whew. Olu was my favorite pick for the Jets. I love that pick because if you watch Big Ten football, you know how dominant Olu Fashanu is. You know it. And the one thing that was the concern for the Jets going into last season, it was that the offensive line simply just was not. It was not. It wasn't good enough. It was not going to be good enough, and materialized into that when Aaron Rodgers get hurt. So that was one thing they needed to do. My least favorite pick, it has nothing to do with the player, but with the team. I do not like the Brock Bowers pick for the Raiders.
Yeah, I
If
mean
you
that's just you drafted Michael Mayer last year. What
exactly,
I don't understand.
exactly,
Also, I have to ask on the topic of Brock Bowers, did you see the look on his dad's face when it was announced?
I did not.
His screen grab, there was a look of fear in his eyes that I saw someone say, that's the face of a man who was told he can never return to Las Vegas. Because you'll have to look it up. He looked shell shocked.
I mean, it wouldn't be a draft without the Raiders shocking us. So I mean, it's literally right on brand. But I think the Raiders should have been a little bit more proactive in the trade market, trying to trade for a quarterback. Because if you're relying on Aiden McConnell or Gardner Minshew to be the guys starting, then you're probably going to be in the midst of competing. But I don't think you can. I don't think they're gonna get over that hump. But another thing I did like though, Laiatu Latu to the Colts, an absolute steal. I get it. The neck fusion, it will turn teams off. I completely understand it. But if you ask me, that's the best pass rusher in the draft, and he is going to pay big dividends quickly for the Colts. If you want an early defensive player of the year candidate, defensive rookie candidate of the year, there's your guy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that. That's a high risk, high reward selection. Personally, my favorite pick in the draft was Vikings trading up for the second time.
Yeah.
17, getting Dallas Turner. I mean,
How the hell did he drop that?
that's your Danielle Hunter replacement. And the fact that you got the, I yeah, arguably the highest rated defensive player in the draft at 17 overall is just mind blowing, to be frank. I mean, it it just the way this draft shook out made absolutely no sense to me, but it is what it is. The my there's a few picks I obviously I didn't love. I'm not going to. You know what? Yeah, I am going to say it. My least favorite pick in the other than Michael Penix was Jaden Daniels at 2.
Ooh.
I just I don't think he's going to be good. I just nothing about him. I don't think he's going to be good. We're talking about a guy who lost his job at Arizona State, transferred to LSU, and walked into a generational wide receiver room again. And I don't see it. And I hope I eat crow on this because I think when Washington's good, the NFL is more fun.
They had a hell of a draft too.
They did. No, they did. They had a great draft. I agree completely. I just I think personally, I think Drake May was cut and dry the number 2 quarterback in this class. And
Prospect fatigue.
yes, yes, exactly. And I just really hope he doesn't end up be turning into an all-time great in New England because that would be insufferable.
It would be I can't do it, man. I like anything Boston I'm going to dislike. Obviously I'm a Jersey guy, so obviously I should feel that way. But I also have a lot of friends that are Patriot fans, and when they're on top, they'll let you know over and over and over and over and over again.
Yep. Yep.
I'm good.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I mean, a real exciting draft weekend, not just for us as Bears fans, but Brandon, there's a lot less to talk about when you're being positive, and
Oh yeah.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing for once that we finally have genuine positivity on this show, and it's just September can't get here soon enough.
And I was just about to say, because we have such expectations, we just can't wait to see our team on the field. This might be the longest summer ever. I'm
Especially with
feeling
how both
for it.
of our baseball teams are playing right now.
I don't even watch that sport. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I went and watched that sport in person last night, unfortunately.
Oh man, I listen. You may cringe at it because your team is bad, but God will reward your loyalty. You just wait.
There's no questions with me when it comes to loyalty. The fact that I'm lining Jerry Reinsdorf pocket still for what he does to me. But hey,
But don't be a stooge, though.
no. Second game all year, and you want to know why we went? All in ticket prices for my girlfriend and I last night after fees in the outfield reserve was $21 total, and it was $5 Tuesdays. So instead of the normal $9 for hot dogs, sausage, nachos, beer, it's $5.
Oh, you can't beat that. You can't. You know what? You know
And
what?
it was 75 degrees, not a cloud in the sky in Chicago last night. So we were 2 of maybe 6,000 people there in the entire stadium.
Yeah, I can't blame you. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, we're gonna be filling a football stadium soon. I mean, we're what 4 months away. 4 months are gonna fly.
Let's see. Let's see.
Oh, last question before we wrap here. Hard
Sure.
numbers, yes or no?
Oh, listen, I'm in. I was out
I'm
before. I've always been out. I'm in now.
I'm in the same boat, and I don't think it happens, but we can dream.
I think NFL will put a gun to Ryan Post back until you're doing this.
I heard there was a handshake agreement apparently between the McCaskies and the NFL that they want nothing to do with Hard Knocks. That's why they've never been on it, and that's why they're willing to play in Canton in the preseason all the time. Why they're always willing to give up a home game in London is because they want nothing to do with Hard Knocks.
Oh boy, I wonder what kind of skeletons they're hiding from us.
Probably just how shitty the facilities are. But hey,
Probably.
conversation for a different day. But with that being said, that's going to wrap this week's show. We will be back very soon talking Bears and hopefully have some more clarity on what's next to come. But don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the show, and we'll see you next time.